Hey, it's James Ray Light. Thank you to everyone for following me and checking out my videos on YouTube. I'm just shooting a new YouTube trailer with my Canon EOS M50 camera I bought from Best Buy for $600. And you can check out my Instagram on Instagram at JamesRayLight1 and JamesRayLight2. And I appreciate anyone sincerely following me on Instagram or checking out my videos. I'm a musician. I'm 6 feet tall. I grew up a Christian. I'm 43 years old. Caucasian, European American. I grew up in America. I was born here in Chicago, Illinois. My whole family was from Chicago for the last 100 years. My great relatives came from Germany and Czechoslovakia. In Europe, there is no white country. So we're not white people. Caucasian European Americans is the actual title, if you want to use ego ways of determining it. But anyhow, so I appreciate anyone checking out my videos. Sincerely, I appreciate it. You know, I grew up lower middle class in Illinois, in Chicago area. And, you know, I grew up with friends of multicultural friends, different ethnicities. I had Chinese friends, black friends, you know, Mexican friends, Latin friends, Jewish friends, all this stuff. So European friends, obviously, Italians, you know. So I'm cool with everyone if they're cool with me. So please don't email me any hate emails, because that's not cool. If you hate me, you must hate other things in life. You know, people have to get rid of their hatred. Don't hate me. Don't hate on me. I'm not anything you should hate. If you love Jesus, you should love me. Okay, put it that way. What I'm saying is this: you can look at my Instagram at JamesRayLight1, JamesRayLight2. I'm a bass player. I played bass for 30 years. I'm just making some talking videos. I just got a new camera. So I'm just going to speak my mind on politics and, you know, spiritual lessons of yoga and Buddhism. I'm not a yogi. I'm not a guru, monk. But, yeah, I'm listening to them and I'm trying to teach it from an American perspective in some ways so that people can change themselves and not just believe in Jesus, Christianity, and Judaism and Islam, which are all valid if that's what they believe in, but what I'm saying is there's alternatives to that as well that are older and somewhat more practical ways of spiritual life practice. So anyhow, if any women want to talk to me, you can check me out at Instagram. JamesRayLight2 is my new account, and you can DM me there if you want to. I'm single. I'm 43 years old. I'm 6 feet tall, 175 pounds. I don't drink, I eat clean, I live clean, I'm celibate. I've only had a couple girlfriends in my lifetime. I'm a very private person, so it's kind of weird doing videos like this, but I'm just introducing myself to people and trying to represent Chicago and Illinois more correctly than Obama and Oprah and Michelle, who are bad representations because Obama's not even from America, he's not even from Illinois. He's a terrorist, globalist criminal, in my opinion. The Chicago Democrats adopted someone who's either a terrorist or he's a bad actor for the CIA. Either way, he has horrible results. He got a $16 trillion debt. You know, he openly killed people with drone strikes. He broke the laws. He, you know, violated constitutional rights. He wrote a fake constitution with the Chicago Democrats. So all those people are criminals and global terrorists. Oprah was the mastermind who installed them. She should be arrested. They should all be put on trial. And, you know, their karma is going to come back to them for trying to enslave everyone and trying to create global terrorism as politics. That's not what politics is. That's not what Chicago is. That's not what Illinois is. Illinois is the land of Lincoln. It's not even Republican or Democratic. It's just supposed to be a free state. That's a progressive state that's moderate, that believes in moderate values, that works. That's why the city's called the city that works, literally, or the city of wind, you know, because it's windy. Especially if you've gone through a lot of 43 Chicago winters like I have. It gets a little brutal in the wintertime, even though New York and, you know, Antarctica is worse. But, you know, it's nothing nice. So, and Michelle's just a thief from the South Side. I like people from the South Side. Believe me, I went to the Sox games in the 90s when they were winning with Frank Thomas, Big Hurt. And, you know, I gave black kids money. You know, came up to me and asked me for a couple dollars. So just for, you know, to help them out buy soda or whatever. But what I'm saying is, you know, I support all people. I want to see all people rise. I think what people have been branded with Obama, Michelle, and Oprah is black entitlement without the work. I think they've tried to promote an exception to the rule of following the rules and following traditions that are not only practical but legal. I believe that they also have promoted excess radicalism with Malcolm X ideology of by any means necessary. That doesn't work. That's why Malcolm got shot to death. They're probably trying to propagandize people with radical Islam, which is not correct. Peaceful Islam is the correct way. I think they've corrupted the values and the morals of people by trying to tell them to believe in materialism, excess, self-entitlement without doing the work, without deserving it. Asking for handouts and then blaming white Europeans who gave them scholarships and free college and jobs, and then stealing from them and lying to people, and then having agendas that were racist, radical agendas that served their own benefit, that were destructive and illegal. So that's what I believe. People will see Obama and Oprah and Michelle as the great deceivers, as the three black stooges, essentially. Three African American stooges, like Larry, Moe, and Curly, but without the humor. So what I'm saying is their footnote in history will be erased, and they'll be known as what they are. Oprah was a maid who was poor. She was abused by Africans, I believe. She had a difficult childhood. She was a schizophrenic, talking in a potato sack, talking to people with a microphone when she was younger. Or not even a microphone, she used to talk to animals. What I'm saying is Chicago adopted her in 1984. She became a talk show host. 36 years later, she's worth $3 billion. She has 6 mansions, and she's a global terrorist who's trying to change America politically with social media and with the media of her own network, which is a good network. The shows are good, but what I'm saying is Oprah is a brand. She used to be made in a potato sack, literally, by her own admission, which there's nothing wrong with that. You can be poor and from the South. I feel for you. But what I'm saying is they branded someone who was ignorant, who was a maid, who didn't know what she was talking about, and then Chicago adopted her like the Drummonds adopted Willis and Arnold, and put her in a penthouse just like that. And it's, the Own Network probably used accountants that were criminal. All of this stuff with the big 4 accountants, the big 8 accountants, they all created criminal conspiracy to teach people to do the opposite of what they're doing. Okay, so I believe if you're going to be a teacher, you have to live by your own lesson. You have to live by the rules that you're preaching, and that you have to live by the code that you're methodically teaching. And that's what I do. So everything I say is the truth, not as I see it, but as it is. Don't you understand? Because these people from the 80s, they were broke. They were crackhead, alcoholic Africans who were broke, who were in the Reagan era, who were conspired against racially. They were conspired against with trickle-down economics, and they were in bad situations that white Europeans didn't cause to them. The government caused this to them. And what I'm saying is I want to see everybody rise, but they broke the rules. They got free scholarship, free jobs. They stole money. They lied to people, and now they're book authors and billionaires and trying to promote that idealism to Africans, which is leave your communities, be self-entitled African liberal radicals, and then try to commercialize yourself as a brand, instead of people just learning self-control and staying in their communities and helping their communities as honest people living in the middle class. You know what I mean? Everyone can raise up, and I'm all for that. You can get money, you can win the lottery, but you still have to practice, living correctly, and you have to practice following the laws, and you have to practice living correct, man. These people came wrong, and now they're trying to be teachers, and I'm just speaking out against it because I actually am from Chicago. Okay, I actually am the truth of the city. These people of Chicago and Illinois, rather, the Chicagoland area, because what I'm saying is they're not even from here. Even if Obama lived in Chicago in 1983, what I'm saying is Oprah's a maid from the South, from Mississippi, and believe me, how many other Oprah maids do you know who own $3 billion, who own pizza company, and what other Africans do you know who didn't go to jail, who ended up causing a $16 trillion debt, killing people with drone strikes, writing a legal constitution? Obama even had his legal license taken away, so he couldn't be, he was trying to be a lawyer at Michelle's law group. and she was a lawyer, and they had their licenses, their legal law licenses, taken away from them in 1990, I think 3, by a federal judge. So they couldn't practice law. Legally, they couldn't practice law because a federal judge or a judge in Cook County decided that they couldn't practice. Okay, I believe that's what county that they were in. They couldn't pay for their Hyde Park house, so they were broke Africans who couldn't practice law, so then they got into politics. Okay, so then they figured they would try to take over the world instead of just trying to get a new job and live in the middle class. So Michelle has a history of stealing from the government, okay, through the medical communities and through the governmental structure of the Chicago hospital system. And that's how she did the same thing with Obamacare, in my opinion, as when Obama took office. Then they defrauded the government, they defrauded the taxpayers with Medicare and Medicaid and Obamacare, and it cost everyone $5,000, at least for the presidency, each civilian taxpayer. And it ended up with a $16 trillion debt. It's them promising change, and what they did was just give people free health care, which was the Affordable Health Care Act, rewritten as Obamacare, and then they defrauded the government through their accountants and through David Axelrod with the social media stuff and the media stuff and the media companies of Own Network. And Oprah basically wanted to turn America, which is a melting pot of cultures and it's not any one culture or any one group of people, into an African Muslim woman-based country that she was in control of. But I'm telling her, she even has a group called Time Up, and I'm telling her her time is going to be up eventually also. Because Oprah doesn't understand that she's a maid. Okay, she's a maid who repeats what white people say, and then she tries to take credit for it while trying to be Maya Angelou. But she isn't Maya Angelou. She isn't a classy poet. Okay, Oprah is a maid who tried to copy Maya Angelou, who doesn't understand what she's talking about, who talks in a big booming voice, and who wants a car? You get a car, we want a car. And she can't even control her weight. I mean, she's a fat, ignorant African woman, and I love black women. But what I'm saying is this, is why would you choose Oprah of all the people? Of all the people you could choose that are beautiful African women, why would you choose Oprah? Out of all the people to get behind, just like Obama and Michelle, why would you choose these people? They're horrible representations of Africans, don't you understand? Just the horrible representations. A thief, a maid, and a terrorist? That's horrible. Even you know, anyone would have been better. Morgan Freeman would have been better. I grew up watching him on Channel 11. You know, even Al Sharpton is a better leader. Jesse Jackson Jr., they even put in federal prison. So even people from Chicago, they put in federal prison, but they chose somebody who was a terrorist from Kenya, Obama. Don't you understand, in my opinion, and what his actions dictate, unless it's all false flags by the CIA, and I'm sick of that political theater also. People can believe me, they can't believe what they see on TV. Unless it's the weather, right? And then that might even be fake. They might even be setting that up, or car crashes, or these crimes. And then it's Memorial Day weekend, and in Chicago, they're preparing for a massacre. It's the murder capital because Africans can't stop shooting each other. Don't you understand? And white people keep paying for their scholarships and their college and their federal grants. And I'm telling them, I'm not against you, you're against yourself. Don't you understand? So all these people need to understand that white people give their tax money and their money so I can't buy instruments and I can't buy a computer, or I can, but I have to buy the lesser one so that they can go to school, so that they can play basketball, so that they can get federal grants, so they can make good rap records or good movies or whatever, documentaries, and so they can rise up, right? So that's what I'm saying, or at least my family does. So that's what I mean. Is what I'm saying is I'm for everyone, but what I'm saying is I had to speak on Obama and Oprah and Michelle, and I'm telling them the karma is going to come to them. I'm not against them. They've been against themselves. See, because they tried to promote materialism, ego, which is this big attitude of them trying to act like something they're not. And then them trying to act like white men or white Europeans, and them being broke Africans who couldn't accept themselves as broke Africans being poor. So then they try to reinvent themselves as rich white celebrity Jewish people who want to live in Italian housing. That's true. So the broke Africans who live in Hyde Park, who couldn't pay for their house mortgage, they want to act like they live in the Hamptons. And I'm telling them, but you have no credentials and you have no training to live like that, because the white people who live like that actually went to school and didn't kill people, steal, and break the law. They actually had companies and they made the money legally. Or they just inherited the wealth, don't they know? That's what I'm saying. I've never been rich, but I never did anything like this. These people don't understand what they're doing, okay? And I'm tired of the African community rallying around people who are criminals, terrorists, and a maid. That's Oprah, Michelle, and Obama. Michelle stole from the beginning. She thought all she's done is steal and then say, here's my new book I'm going to write. Just like Obama is, here, believe in my words. And we're going to try to change society. And if I don't agree with something, I'll definitely try to change it with petitions. Because I can't accept what reality is. That's what people want to say. They can't accept what reality is, so Obama wants to change everything with his petitions.org and his change.org. See, he promised change, but what he didn't deliver was the truth. Because I'm telling people, I'm not trying to promise people anything. What I am is the truth. So I speak the truth. If you speak the truth and you speak acceptance of life, there's nothing to change. There's only things to accept. You can change 25% of things, but 75% of things will stay the same. Just like the seasons. The temperature will go up and down, but winter is cold and summer is hot. And it doesn't matter what a crazy Kenyan terrorist says, it's not going to change. Okay? Most things are not going to change. Okay? Black people need to stop, and African people need to run away from the Democratic Party because it's like a slave house, and then they need to stop hating on white people and then saying white European Americans are somehow less than them and now they're black entitled, need to be billionaires. And I'm going, but white Europeans just want to have pizza and just, pay their taxes and just survive. And their life is so bad that a third of them kill themselves. So I'm telling people they don't understand the reality of being white, living in counties that are known for the murder capital, or great cities like Chicago that there are pockets, just like in LA, just like in New York, where they're real dangerous because the Africans there just want to shoot each other and sell drugs and then blame white people who don't do that. And then they want to be billionaires, or they want to just live in Hawaii. And I'm telling them that's not, none of that is normal. It's not logical, none of it. So what I'm saying to people is, they need to rally behind a new leader. Not even, I would be a good one, but I don't even want to be in politics. But I'm just telling people, I have to speak the truth because I'm from this area. Okay, so the Obamas were from the state I was from, was born in, and my family have lived here for 100 years, and they came from Germany. Czechoslovakia, before that 100 years or some ago. Because if they would have stayed in Czechoslovakia, they would have been genocided by Hitler. But that's what I'm saying, is people have to understand that about white Europeans, is that they're not all rich, none of us are racist. The people who are 5%, if they're Nazis, they're Germans who want a socialist state. They're not even racist against African. They're just want a German state who are socialists. So they don't even understand the Nazi mentality. I'm not a Nazi. None of my family was Nazis, as far as I know. I don't know about my great-grandfathers in Germany or something. But what I'm saying is people are afraid of everyone beside themselves and their own actions. So what I'm saying, instead of promoting materialism, excess, ego, power, voting people into office illegally, and then Africans breaking the rules and then blaming white people and then having their hands out for scholarships and for, and for all this stuff. And if you look at all the sporting events and every white person is there supporting them, don't you understand? And then they just said, we hate Trump and we hate the KKK and every exception to the rule that we hate. I'm saying, don't you think we do also? We don't hate Trump, but what I'm saying is white people, I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote for anyone. I haven't voted in an election because I don't agree with the political structure of the Democrats or the Republicans. It's either right or left. So the middle path in moderation is correct. But they don't have a third party beside the Libertarian or the Green Party, and then they don't have enough funding. So they don't have any real presence. And what I'm saying is this, is all these people have to get over themselves. So what I'm telling people is if you practice yoga, and you practice Buddhism, and you practice self-control, nonviolence, sobriety, live in moderation financially, you eat well, you're vegetarian, you live clean, you know what I'm saying? And if people just stay within their budget and pay their bills and don't act like maniacs, this stuff their lives will be better, because them getting a brand and becoming millionaires or politicians or billionaires and owning banks isn't going to stop their tendencies from stealing, lying, and killing if that's what they do. Just like the Obamas, just like the Oprahs, and then they have shows called Get Away with Murder. Or the haves and the have-nots. So they went from having nothing to having something like Trading Places. In 36 years, and I'm still living in the same place, and I'm still just as broke as I was in 1984, but I've seen all these people become billionaires, but they're all lying murderers. And I'm telling them the money's not going to help. Don't you understand? But I'm still speaking the same truth, and now I finally have a camera to speak it. You understand? So God said I'm the Son of God, one of them, and I've had all these spirits speaking through me. Jesus, Yeshua of Bethlehem, Moses, Muhammad, you know, all these ghosts and all these spirits going through me. You know, I'm not schizophrenic and I don't have any psychiatric disorders that severe, certainly not. Everyone has some kind of degree of sickness or whatever. But what I'm saying is, you know, I have to speak too, because Obama said he was blessed, and I'm saying, what blessed person acts like this? What blessed person just violently breaks the rules and tries to create their own way and deceives humanity and then tries to enslave them and then murders people and then rewards themselves with fake political offices and housing, and then writes books that are fake words? Even if they're his truth, what I'm saying is that doesn't replace, actions speak louder than words. So all these people who want to sell books and all these people who want to read new words, unless it's the truth, it's not valid. If it's coming from people who have acted in a way that's horrible, what I'm telling them, you can read it, but always remember, actions speak louder than words. And provable actions, not people's opinions, is what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. So take that with you. I just had to speak on it because I'm from this county, from Chicago area, and my whole family's from here from 100 years. So this could be my first YouTube video, but I'm not Republican. I'm not pro anyone or anti this or that. I have no political stand. I have no agenda of working for corporations or anything. No one's paying me to say anything, unlike all these people in suits who are getting paid to lie, tell half-truths, or join a political conspiracy of the CIA and the government against every civilian. Okay, while saying that they want to make things better for society, which, you know, might be another half-truth, right? Until they actually do. So that's what I'm saying, is everyone has lofty expectations, but it's actually what they do, not what they say. You know, unless it is the truth, speaking from me, you can definitely appreciate what I'm saying and believe it, because I am the truth. So what I'm saying is that it's not just the truth of today, it's the truth of the ages. So they're the deception of the ages, don't you understand? So that's what I'm trying to tell people, is that, you know, it's very simple. You know, if you're truthful and godly and you're righteous and you walk a path of moderation and you live humbly and poor and you stay in your community and you don't promise things like, you know, materialism, ego, wealth, fame, destructive orders, joining conspiratorial groups that conspire against humanity and go against your fellow brothers, it's not good. None of that is good. That's what Oprah and Obama and Michelle have done while telling people how competent they are. And I'm asking them how many laws have they broken, and all the FBI and the CIA, all of these people need to look into them and see what they've actually done. Okay? And I'm not one to judge people. I believe in Christianity. You shouldn't judge people, but you can't allow them to keep doing all of this either. Right? So for every action, there's an equal and opposite action. It's a reaction. So that's what I'm telling them. And the karma of what they've created will come back to them. It has to. You know, I'm not against them. They were against themselves since birth. You know, and God did all of this, so it's inshallah. It's in God's will. So that's what I'm telling them. It's like that, you know. So that's what I'm just telling people, is instead of blaming people, they have to understand that it's God's will first. So even if someone acts horribly or whatever, they have a path of life that they walk that led them into darkness or whatever, you know, conspiracy against humanity as they did. What I'm saying is, you know, God chose it for them. It's inshallah. That's what the Muslims say, is in God's will. I'm not a Muslim, but what I'm saying is Muhammad speaks through me sometimes too. So I'm just having that aspect of telling people that I'm not anti-Muslim. I'm anti-radicalism and anti-violence, but I'm accepting of God's faiths, and I'm accepting of God's people. Don't you understand? So what I'm saying is all the protests in the world isn't going to make anyone accept anything. It's just they're going to be protesters who want to petition everything to change things into their childish, adolescent ways that is never going to work. That's what Obama, Michelle, and Oprah, and then just be Africans who try to teach like Maya Angelou, but they're not Maya Angelou. They're criminals who have been adopted by Chicago, the Chicago Democrats, not even the Republicans, and then people trying to act like something they're not. It's trying to act like French, rich, Italian Jews and celebrity Hollywood people. And I'm telling them they're broke Africans from Chicago, from the South Side. And Obama was from Kenya or wherever he was from, Morocco, North Africa, wherever he's from. Which I have no problem with them. I love Africans. But what I'm saying is, listen, it's how people act. It's not where you're from. So that's what I'm saying. And it doesn't matter what you call yourself or what God calls yourself. It matters how you act and how you treat people, isn't it? That's true. So that's what I mean. So thank you for watching, and that's all.